Hello, this is Stephen Choyles, founder of Church of Fairness, a new religion based on scientific evidence. I was watching some YouTube videos earlier today, and no, it was on MSN. That's right. So, the title of the video was, If Aliens Arrive, Will This Destroy Religions? And I immediately thought it won't destroy the Church of Fairness because it's based on the evidence we get from science. And we don't have too much evidence from science on the effect of mythological stories, fairy tales, things like that, novels. We don't really have a lot of precise evidence from psychology. It's statistical. There's a woman named Lisa Miller that's working on spirituality as a means to solve world problems, and she's a scientist also. So she's got statistics on MRIs and the spiritual center of the brain, and how there's some evidence of one mind's connected to another mind. Dean Radin also has a great deal of scientific evidence, statistical, on the effect of the mind on the physical universe, affecting randomness, random number generators, and so forth. And it's there's an effect demonstrable to sixth sigma. That's very good statistical evidence that something's going on that we don't know exactly what it is. What's the pushrod? What's the mechanism that connects my mind to your mind? Well, there's two possibilities right off that I'm thinking about. One is just the foundation of this reality that we evolved into. The Nobel Prize was given for demonstrating that the universe is not locally real. This is from quantum entanglement. So there's a metaphor in the Hindu religion of Indra's net. Indra is a mighty god in India. It's an older one. I think it goes clear back into the Rig Veda, where they had the creation hymn. Now see, my speculation is that extraterrestrials are giving humans visions, downloads of information. So the creation hymn is that the creation created the gods. And then it talks about the one. This is what I'm talking about. The one is just the fact that it's one thing. If the one doesn't know where creation came from, then maybe we'll never know. That's a refreshing creation story. It talks about the deep waters and intelligence coming from the deep waters. Earth is kind of unique in how much ocean it has. Lots of deep waters here on Earth. When you look at the pictures we have nowadays of the Earth from out there, pictures of cameras we designed, taking pictures of the Earth from what do you want to call it? A very far distant orbit. Some of the machines we've created are not orbiting the Earth or the Sun. Voyager left the solar system. It's reached escape velocity from our solar system. So we have pictures from way out there of the earth. Well, they're so far out there, you can't even see the earth. Doesn't even show up. But like from the moon, different probes that have taken pictures back at the earth from a fair distance, and so you just see this beautiful blue marble. They call it the blue marble, and it's mostly water. So this is what the extraterrestrials have told us about the water and the darkness and so forth. It was carried on into the creation story in the Bible, the Jewish Bible. But see, that at that point they had taken this truth told to the humans by the extraterrestrials and turned it into a story to have control and power over others. And it happens everywhere, not just in Mideast. This same struggle went on in India. And so we don't know what the creator is in India. Now they have given it a form, and it's Brahma, and they have stories what Brahma is. So they're off track. You see what I'm saying? Now the stories about Brahma are useful, and the biblical stories are useful for historical reasons, that it was written, who wrote it. And you can see that a lot of it came from earlier ideas from the Babylonians, Sumerians, Assyrians, and so forth. So it wasn't a new thing for the Bible to come up with an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. That was written down, I think, by the Assyrians. Can't remember for sure. But it's written down. We have document of it from the early written language, cuneiform. And then India developed Sanskrit, written language, early on. And I'm very drawn to Buddhist idea that form is emptiness and emptiness is form. From a scientific standpoint, from an actual physical reality standpoint. I'm interested in physics. What's the push rod? What's the mechanism to things? So, in India, they came up with the number 0, shunya, in Sanskrit. And that's a major part of Buddhism, shunyata, emptiness. So see, Buddhism's going off track too, because they're trying to make emptiness something different than 0. But originally, it's just 0. So we solve our problems with emptiness in Buddhism from Zen mind, beginner's mind. We can always solve our problems with emptiness. I'm paraphrasing. Well, what is emptiness? It's 0, with nothing. Meister Eckhart said God is pure nothing. I was thinking about listening to an audible book by Madame Blavatsky that I noticed yesterday. It's about silence, the power of silence, and I forget the exact title. Here again, you have people talking about how important it is to just not do anything, to stop your thoughts, and just see what happens. Try to. When I can't do it, if I'm in a great turmoil, I can always just drop everything else and count backwards from 12. I have to focus a little bit to remember which numbers before, and it's enough that it keeps me on that task. And at the same time, I'm counting my breaths. So as with an out breath, it's 12, 11, 10, 9. See, I had to pause right there from between 10 and 9. I always do that. I don't know why. There's like a blockage. Interesting. So when we talk, it's on out breath. you can make sounds breathing in, but normally we talk with our out breath from the air from the lungs going through the vocal cords or past the vocal cords. So it's the out breath 12, 11, 10, 9. So I'll slow down and take deeper breaths. 8, 7, 6, 5. I got grace. There's a being that shows up with us. I think it's an entity. I think it's non-human. And it's the Guru. It's God. It's the Guru. It's the One. Servants of the One that join. It's the spiritual center of our brain, in the brain, that Lisa Miller talks about. So I was focusing on actually doing this meditation, and that's when it happened. I felt a shift in my mind, in my brain. We sense what our brain's doing with our mind. Well, the mind senses what everything is. It's like conjures up our whole experience. So you can measure a change of brainwaves and so forth in meditation. Six, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Shunyata. 12. You get it? Shunyata 0. 3, 2, 1. Shunyata. So I've got my shrine set up here in front of me. Here's Baphomet. I had a dream that I have attributes of Baphomet, and then I was the Christ. Baphomet's the Christ. The scapegoat that got killed. The sins put on to him. Banished to the desert to die. I'm a scapegoat in our society. So, there's Nataraj Tandava. He's got fire all around him. Now, you can make a story up whether the flame on Baphomet's head from the crown chakra, that's what it's about. It's his crown chakra is awakened. And did it come from Shiva's ring of fire, or did Nataraj get his fire from Baphomet? Maybe it's the same time. Tie goes to the runner. So here's my frog god. I got a little frog god. And see the big eyes on top? There's a story in Buddhism that a symbol for the awakened one is eyes above the surface of the water. So the water represents the unconscious mind, according to Carl Jung. So if you're having dreams about going into the water or seeing clearly in clear water, you're seeing clearly into your unconscious mind. It's powerful. I've had several dreams where I'm seeing in clear water and I see a beautiful fish at the bottom, and it corresponds to my desire for a beautiful physical female. It's how we're created. So it's used in the communication from the One to us. And so our desire can get us into trouble. See, this is what Buddhism's talking about. Desire causes your suffering because you can't have what you want. So it's also a way to avoid. Avoidance Years ago, I was got into recovery from alcohol addiction, and we was learning about. They had a sheet on the things that's going on before a relapse, like 12 different possible things, scenarios, every one of them except for one, and you could look at even all of 12 of them, even the last one, as being some type of avoidance. So we avoid doing what we need to do, and we do what we don't need to do, and we get in trouble. And what we need to do might be subtle. What I need to do right now is follow my spirit friend. Sometimes it works. And she's saying, leave your vehicle there for another day. Don't even worry about it. Don't worry about getting your Jeep to go back driving Uber. I was so sick over the weekend I couldn't have drove if I would have had the vehicle. It had to stay over the weekend. So the mechanic spoke of the Jeep as female. So that's typical. A lot of cultures see that way. The Spanish people, the Mexican people have female attributes to a lot of things, physical things. The vehicle is one of them. A boat is called she. Now in India, they have a word tat. It's in the Upanishads. Tat Vam Asi. Thou art that. That is the tat. And there's another hymn. I can't think right now. Anyway, it's about Tat. It's in the Mill Mantra. It's a really good one. I won't focus to remember that stuff. It's hard for me to pull up memories. I'm getting old. It's like years and years I was thinking, I don't need to kill myself because I'll get old and die. So all I got to do is get through another day. And I'm getting close. I'm getting close to going home. Into this misery on Earth. This beautiful planet we're destroying to some degree. Species are becoming extinct. Years ago, I woke up in a dream and I was brokenhearted because it was too late. The destruction has happened. We can't turn it around, and it's just gotten worse since then. Like, are the polar bears going to be extinct? I don't know. There's some success stories where years ago the blue whales maybe the blue whales will become extinct, and now there's more than there used to be. They're the biggest animal on the planet. So when I'm experiencing difficulty, I dread it. And I avoid the confrontation of the difficulty. That's one of my character defects. Is radical acceptance is where the difficulty is accepted equally, equanimity, with any other experience. And I've changed it. I've turned it upside down, where the difficulty was to be avoided. Now it's like I'm aware that there's good that happens from the difficulty. The difficulty is a good thing because good's gonna come from it. And it's a fact. See, this stuff has to be a fact or I don't believe it. And it's tentative, it's like science, where until something explains it better. Once again, I struggled with randomness. Is the push rod, is there a mechanism that sometimes arranges for me to have green lights and a parking space and a gap in the traffic so that I can get on the road? Well, just because there's a gap in our knowledge doesn't mean there's a God. It means we don't understand something yet. So the God of the gap is the one that gives me the gap so I can get on the road. That's just some humor. Ha. The God of the gap. So, what if we can explain God? Einstein thought we could. He thought we could understand the mind of God. He liked a simple explanation to things. And so do I. So zero, shunyata, somehow is all that is. See, they say, why is there something rather than nothing? I think they'd benefit if they thought for a minute, why is something looking like this? How is it that nothing at all can manifest as physical reality and as ourselves? So like the Bible says that God made creation from nothing. And somebody was thinking about this kind of thing, and he said, sometimes the nothing shows through. And that's the key to nirvana. Nirvana is freedom from existence. Doesn't mean you cease to exist right now. We don't have a problem if you don't exist. We don't have a problem if there's an afterlife. We don't have a problem if there's a temporary afterlife and then we don't exist. We don't have a problem because the difficulties bring about good. So I get two different stories from my spiritual source, that there is an afterlife, and then I was told it's just a story. So they're like, I know what they're doing. I can sense. They're playing dumb, but they're really smart. And they're saying it doesn't matter. Do you understand? It does not matter. But they don't put it in those words. So I've learned how to understand them to a high degree. In fact, they told me that I was the first one that understood their message. Years ago, they told me this in meditation. And it was like, take things the other way. And the Course of Miracles says, all miracles are the same. If you can change how you're seeing this, it's a miracle. So that's what I've done with the difficulty. The difficulty is good. So that's a miracle that I changed how I'm thinking about it. And when I get in this mode of trusting God, then I have no problems. And so whether it's just because I'm trusting that's all there is to it, so what? Maybe that's all there is to it. Maybe when I'm trusting, I'll be shown this mechanism that changes my reality. Synchronicities start happening, and it's obvious. It's factual, but it's hard to. You can't prove anything. Science doesn't believe anything. It's just this is our best explanation. So personal evidence, like a dream you have at night, personal evidence of your dream is that you remember it, but there's no object to prove it. It's like trying to prove there's a UFO. They won't allow us to prove there is one until we have one here landed on the earth that we can go and see. And it's like a rock in your hand. There's the object. It's not a picture of the rock. It's the actual rock. So we can't prove there's a UFO. We can't prove anything, and that's okay. That's why you need to have faith or trust. The Bible says faith is belief in things unseen. Yeah, exactly. There's no evidence of our dream. I believe dreams are from extraterrestrials. That requires faith, according to the Bible's definition. Now, I don't believe in things that aren't true. So that's it. Some people take faith to an extreme, and so there's a lot of atheists complaining or bringing about how stupid it is to have faith in things that are proven to not be true, proven to a high degree. So people are rejecting evolution. They're rejecting that we're an animal as human. They're rejecting that we're a mammal. What? Come on. This is stupid. So they have faith in a lie. No, it's never going to work. So it doesn't matter how much faith you have. If there are no unicorns and rainbows, you can't conjure them up. That's sad. People say that with God, all things are possible. Well, then it's possible some things are not possible. And it's a good thing. So, yeah, the eyes are coming above the surface of the water. And so you become conscious of what's around you. You can see it, where before you couldn't see it. That's what the shadow's about. We have a shadow inside that causes us to have bad behaviors, or it causes us to fail at things. And it's a part of ourselves that we haven't ever seen before. It's in the shadow. It's in the shadows. It's covered. It's hidden from us until we have the ability to go inside, and you might have a lot of fear come up. People are having a lot of fear. I hear all the time that people are shaking with fear. I've been through it. I know what it's like. And is it fear of the devil? So, what if there's not a single entity that's Satan, or a single entity that's the God that's opposed to Satan? That's a false God, and it's a false Satan. There's not really one. There's just different teams. So the only thing that's a sin is when you do someone else wrong. That same law applies to both teams. So people that are Satanists, if they do others wrong, they learn the lesson not to do others wrong. Because Satanism is about justice. So they might be some of the most careful people to not do other people wrong that are not doing them wrong, because they're very aware of the consequence. So it's the same law. We have a history on planet Earth of developing laws. The first language, one of the first documents in Sumer, or one of them, was a book of laws and punishments. And then it progresses and the laws become different. And then the Bible was written. There's the Ten Commandments, that's laws. And they had their social laws written down. I don't know the whole story about that. But then we have the Magna Carta, where the king is not above the law. The law has power of its own. And with Team Fairness, Church of Fairness, we're accepting that the law has all the power over humans. We intentionally are ruled by this law, that we won't do others wrong, and that we'll care about everyone. So, this is not a law written from elite people about commerce. About what happened with the law in the USA was they created corporate fascism with it. That's what happened with it. So Adam Smith was wrong. Their sentiments of the rich people are very small. They don't care. Most of the humans are very evil, and it's getting worse. And what evil is when you do someone else wrong and you don't care. You do it intentionally. So we have this side to us that it's when we're growing up, or even some people never outgrow it. It's fun to hurt other people. It's fun to get the best of them. And you don't care how bad their feelings are hurt. You're just selfish and you care about your ego inflation. Mighty me. So, what's the consequence of this? We're destroying ourselves. That's the consequence. I won't be surprised if there's nuclear weapons sent to destroy something today. It wouldn't surprise me a bit. So would you rather have unity and everybody agree not to do others wrong, and all the religions agree not to do the other religions wrong, and not have unfair beliefs about other people anymore? The beliefs like that, disregard them, have it written in the front of the Bible, Quran, Bhagavad Gita, etc. Hindu, India, like the caste system, dreadful. Absolutely despicable. And there's some evidence that it came from white people. The white people, the Brahma caste, they're basically white. Here you go again. Evidence of people that have skin like, similar to my skin, white, Caucasian, have done great damage to other tribes. So they had, in USA, they have manifest destiny, so that we have God's desires us to kill the Native Americans and take over for the sake of God of the Bible. That's not the creator. The Gnostic said, you're not the creator, you're a laughing stock, claiming that you are. So Neptune's fighting me, and they're telling me that I'm winning. So there was a book I read long ago called The Game of Life by Shin was her last name. The Game of Life, last name Shin. Short book, kind of like The Secret, the recent book called The Secret, similar. So I haven't been able to come into money. I had money and I lost it all. And I realized God's taken all my money. So maybe I needed to stay poor and humble and live in my car occasionally. And I know things can happen to us real quick. I got in a wreck one day, and then within 3 days I was in the hospital getting healed up so I could have pituitary surgery, because they found out I had a pituitary tumor. Maybe they wouldn't have found it without the wreck, and maybe I would have got more depressed and ended up in worse place than if the wreck wouldn't have happened. See what I mean? So it's like the story of the you don't know if it's good or bad. The guy in the town, village, old days, loses his horse, and the sage, the wise man of the village, says, you don't know if it's good or bad. And the next day his horse came back, and it's got a mare with him, with his stud, his stallion. And he went back and told the sage what had happened, and he says, you don't know if it's good or bad. And then because of the colts that happened from those two being bred together, they were very high quality horses, and so the other tribe attacked their tribe to get their horses. And he says, you don't know if it's good or bad. So it just never ends. So that war prevented something else that was even worse. So difficulties are good. Have a great day.